All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Wednesday here with Ladybird Live on Facebook. So, I told you guys this week we have a special guest, Miss Ci Coleman, and we're going to be talking to her. So, first, let me say hello to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, you can comment. I will see your comments. If you are on Twitter watching, you can retweet and do a a quote tweet. I always oh goodness, y'all can tell I don't use Twitter like that. Do a quote tweet and ask questions or respond on there, and I'll see that as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, as we're going through this interview, if you have questions, please put your questions in the comments. I will see them. Hello to everyone. Hello. All right. So I'm going to get started. So my guest today, again, is Ci Coleman. Hey, Angel. And we are going to be talking about a lot of stuff. I'm going to let her come on here and share her story of her diagnosis with y'all. But we're going to get into it. So today's show title is I Have HIV and Breastfed My Baby. Because listen, I was looking at her all kinds of sideways crazy when I heard about this. And I was like, wait a minute. But they said, don't do this. And she about to do it. Wait a minute. Listen, I was following this story like a hawk. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring Cece on. Hey girl.
It-
Oh, let me oh there you go. Look, and I muted you back. Hey.
hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. You had me tripping out backstage, okay? Because you
Yeah.
was like, hold on, wait, maybe. So, hello, everyone. My name is Sierra CC Coleman. That's a long story. But I am a woman living with HIV. I am 35 now. Been living with HIV since the age of 20. So I got diagnosed back in 2008. It was like it was May. No, it was I got diagnosed at the beginning of June, but I got tested at the end of May. And it's like down south, I'm going into my last year of college. I'm about to be lit and turned up because I was doing my thing. I had beat all the statistics. I thought of everything else, and now I'm about to go live my best life. So I'm trying not to get pregnant because there was always the story that was like that was the cautionary tale. Don't get pregnant. It's like, okay, well, I know things to do to not get pregnant. I certain methods such as birth control. So I went into the clinic to go get those pills. And she just happened to offer a HIV test at that time. I'm 20, like I ain't HIV. And didn't think HIV happened to people like me. Like me, I'm saying like someone who was not in certain pockets of community that are stigmatized, to only be the ones who are living with HIV. And so she offers the test on that Friday. I say yes. They call me back on a Wednesday and it's like, we need you to get back in here. Like, okay, but I have to work. It's like, no, you don't understand. We really need you to get back in here. So I go, and that is the day that I received my diagnosis, which was June 4th, 2008. So I just came up on my 15 years. And that moment changed my life forever. I thought I was going to die. I thought everything from the beginning, all the messaging I had ever seen, I just thought my life was over. I cried. I beat myself up. Had I made wiser decisions in certain moments, then maybe I wouldn't be sitting here. And that lasted for all of 3 days. And I used that energy to, just be a steward and to help other people not become HIV positive. These are the things that I did. This is how I got this diagnosis. Had I protected myself, had I asked more questions, maybe if I had asked to see the proof, I would not be sitting where I am as a woman living with HIV today. But that was 15 years ago, and so much has happened since then. from marriages. Well, only one marriage, but a marriage and a divorce. I have two children. As you've already said, I've got to breastfeed one of my children, which is a very controversial topic that we can get into as soon as you're ready to get into it. Um, but life has been great, and I'm so well blessed, and we here.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Yeah, so that's why I wanted you to share your story too, because you, like you say, you're in college. You aren't thinking, oh, I'm in college, I'm getting ready to go and, do this test and it's gonna tell me I'm positive. Like that's the last thing you're thinking about. So yeah, definitely something that a lot of the young adults need to hear, because this is still happening. That was 15 years ago. Now here in 2023, they're still walking into clinics and getting tested, and they're still becoming diagnosed. So absolutely, need to bring that awareness. Now, yes, ma'am. Let's get into this breastfeeding. So, for you guys who are watching and you may not know, one of the ways of being able to transmit the HIV virus to others is a mother who's positive through breast milk. This has been something that has been from the very beginning. They've always said, oh, if you're HIV positive, don't breastfeed, as well as, blood contact and sexual contact. So most mothers who are HIV positive and had children while positive, including myself, did not breastfeed because they would always say this is a risk. Now, if you guys remember last week when I was talking with Dee, we were having a small conversation about how early on, as early as probably 2002, she realized that because she was undetectable, which they weren't even really using that term then. It was just basically knowing that she couldn't, as long as she was taking her medicine, her partner was not contracting the virus. And she said, my partner never got the virus. I was taking my medication and we honestly weren't using condoms. And so that made her think, okay, well, if I'm doing this, and he's not getting it. Okay, we got something here. So that's kind of the same thing with breastfeeding. If we're now saying you equals you and undetectable equals untransmittable, why couldn't that also stand when it comes to breastfeeding? Because if you're saying I'm undetectable and I have sex with someone, condom brace, or it's unprotected, I can infect them, or if they come in contact with my blood and I'm undetectable, I can't infect them. Why couldn't that also stand for breastfeeding? So, what made you just say, was this a thought that came to you? Did the doctor mention it? What was your whole thought process when it came to wanting to do the breastfeeding?
Oh, I've always wanted to breastfeed. I feel like, that's what I carry a baby, then I have breast that is able to produce milk, and feed the baby. I just felt like that was a natural process of life. And HIV had come in and interfered with that. So now I'm toxic, and is the word you keep saying, infected, and every time you say it, like, make me, because it's that self stigma. You know what I'm saying? And even
Yeah.
though that's not what you intended, I know that's not what you, but you hear that message and so much, and it already make you feel So now I'm nasty, I'm dirty, I'm infected, I'm toxic now to my baby, who I was able to carry for 9 months. Well, the first one I carried on for 7.5, but I'm toxic now to this human being. That how a baby grow inside of your body? You living with HIV and the baby don't have HIV. Like, to me, I was like, whoa, this is something else. And so with that first child that I had, Zion, who is 12 now, I had him back in 2020 down in a place where I got diagnosed, Georgia. And it's a rural part of Georgia, and they're not really prepared. Like, I had to be taken by ambulance from the place where I went into labor at 30 to 40 minutes away, because they weren't prepared to handle a baby like me, from a woman like me who was living with HIV. So breastfeeding didn't even come up in the conversation. Like back then, it kind of seemed like you should just feel grateful that you was able to give birth while living with HIV and that the baby was negative, and that should be the end of story. Before I could even get a chance to offer my opinion on or ask about breastfeeding, that was already shut down. My baby had a he had formula by the time I got back to him from the NICU. But that felt bad because now I was standing in the Ronald McDonald House, the place where they send you, you know. So I'm standing there in the shower by myself because his father wasn't there, and doing this alone at the age of 23, and my breasts are just getting hard and swollen, and I'm standing in the shower and watching that milk just drip out, and I'm feeling empty because I've already left the hospital without my baby, and now my body is just continuing that natural process of what's going to happen. And my milk, I'm just watching it waste away in the tub. That made me feel sad. Apparently later I find out it was postpartum depression that I experienced, but I didn't need the baby. The baby didn't need me anymore. Like, what good am I? I've done everything I was supposed to do. I brought the baby here because now everybody else has a right to say what I'm supposed to do with my baby. Everybody can give them a bottle. That bonding that I thought was going to just be there, like, this our baby. And that's how I felt. In my blog, Healing is Voluntary, I wrote about this not being able to breastfeed, and that blog is called Liquid Gold. And I use little Giphy, the memes or whatever. And then this is the scene of in the Lion King where Rafiki walks up with Simba in his hands, but he just throws the baby. Okay, instead of presenting the baby to those, because that is what I felt like. And it ain't nothing that it make you feel good to admit to, but it was my HIV diagnosis that had gotten me to this moment. So I decided I wasn't having kids for a long time. Like, if I was going to have any more kids, because I already had the one that proved to myself and to the world that I could have kids. And I tried to do the whole marriage thing, that didn't work out. So that one was enough. But coming now, all these years later, I'm starting to watch people in other countries. Like, I'm watching them feed their babies while living with HIV. I'm watching the recommendations from the World Health Organization say that breast is best, even if you're living with HIV for like 6 months exclusively. So I couldn't understand how come just because I'm living in America, living wherever I'm at, that determines whether or not I'm able to breastfeed my baby. So the justification for that is that we are a higher resource country where we always have access to clean water and formula. So that's why, why expose the baby to HIV again if you always have access to these things. It should be a no-brainer, which it's not for many of us. But for many of us, it is. I'll give room for that. But I mean, I know when I was breastfeeding my baby, we were going through a formula shortage. I know we're in this country, we have had water that's been not clean, and they've been letting residents still drink from that. Like, at some point while during my feeding journey, I felt like my breast milk was the safest thing I could be giving my baby. Like, we was being watched. The baby was on medication. I was on medicine. Like, it just felt safe and it felt right. So I wasn't going to have any kids for a long time, but in 2018, I started the blog. Then in 2019, I got linked with the Well Project. Wonderful organization. This is a shameless plug here. It's a nonprofit that serves women and girls living with HIV across the gender spectrum. And I'm program manager there. And at that time, I found them through the blog, and they invited me to speak with them at the U.S. Conference on HIV and AIDS on breastfeeding. This was the first time that I ever heard a provider say, here are all the benefits for breastfeeding. Like, these benefits don't go away because the mother's or the birthing parent is living with HIV. We got benefits such as, decreased cancer risk of cancer for the mom, the baby decreased risk of like asthma and diabetes and all of these things. And All of those benefits, and the only thing that y'all are weighing against it is the less than 1% risk of transmission of HIV when the mother is undetectable. That's the information we got from the studies like over in Africa. Why we not using that data over here? What is that? Is that racism? Is that what we is this like prejudice? I don't know. I just got questions. So
Right.
because we've already seen it. So taking all of these things into consideration, then I'm watching the Well Project also convened at the end of 2020, like 23 folks or so, where it was different interdisciplinary fields, and we honed in on the topic of breast and chest feed and for parents living with HIV. So it's like, yo, this could really be a thing. But I don't want to have no kids yet. I need to wait until something changed. Well, in February 2021, that's when I found out I was pregnant. So now all this stuff I've been out here advocating for, I really had to make that decision in my own life. And it was wow. So I went back and forth the whole time. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, it wasn't an easy decision because it would be me, that 1%. You know what I'm talking about? It would be just me. And then that would be a whole different story. But it was a real spiritual journey. All of this. Um, I had been with a provider for like 10 years and I loved her. But when I found out I was pregnant, I said, hey, my medicine says that I shouldn't be taking it if I'm pregnant. I need to change. No problem. And I want to breastfeed. She tried three different methods. The first one was, oh no, why don't you get donor milk? Go to the milk bank. I don't know about you, but I just don't want to feed my baby somebody else's milk. I just don't want to do it. Like, and I should be able to say that. I'm grateful that those services are available for those who want them, but me, that's not for me. So it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Second option was, um, oh, there's no doctor in America who will work with you if that is what your desire is. Like, well, that's absolutely false because I know one girl by the name of Heather O'Connor, who's currently down in Virginia, white girl, who's breastfeeding. She done breastfed her first child, and now she's about to breastfeed or currently breastfeeding her second. So I know there are doctors in America. So I know that that's not the way you're going to change my mind. And then number three was, and this the one that make you kind of be like, I'm all right. If you do it, you're gonna have to be quiet about it because if our pediatrician is the one that is known to call DHS or Child Protective Services on parents who breastfeed while living with HIV. Well, I don't want my kids taken away. All right. And I
Right.
don't want them folks at my house. Okay. Because they be all up in your business unnecessarily. All for the all for the fact that I just wanted to breastfeed my child. Y'all gonna do when I have another kid who is here, who's at this time is 10, like he's a good child. You could tell that I've been able to provide him, with some manners and a certain life.
Right.
At 6 weeks, don't even know if the baby going to stick yet. Y'all already talking about calling them folks on me. Crazy. So
That.
because because of my proximity to these resources, being in the position I am with the Well Project and being able to link with other community members, I got to watch a couple of women that were born with HIV. They breastfed their children before me, and I got to watch that. But you can't be open about it because you don't want the lashback, or you don't want people to judge you, or you don't want nobody calling nobody on you because of your choices you make with your body and your children. For whatever reason, those women stories wasn't, you know, in the forefront. It was those women that helped me make those decisions. Because if a woman was born with HIV, she know what it's like to grow up her entire life with it.
Right.
So you was willing to take that chance with your baby. If you could do that, I could do it too. So I held up Alyssa Crawford, Antoinette Jones, because I'm looking at women that was like before me. Then, like I said, it wasn't an easy decision. I took my doctors through it. We went up and down, up and down.
Cause look, the way you talking, this like they was saying no, no, no. Like it was just, it was like every time you came, they were giving you another reason why you shouldn't, and you like, no, well I should. Why shouldn't I? Yeah, that's crazy.
What's unfortunate is that we don't have the research to be able to back it here in this country. If that's what we're looking for is data from here, I've heard from a few different places that it will probably be hard to get that research done because the study is unethical. Like, how do you do a study to see whether or not the baby becomes positive? But we have information that is available. We do know that U equals U when it comes to sex. But how do we get this applied to things beyond sex? Like, is it proven for drug use? Is it proven for breastfeeding? Is it proven in the other ways that HIV is transmitted? We need the research because that would make our story, even stronger. But what we
Right,
did get was we had the opportunity to be involved in the guidelines being updated here in the United States. So that is very exciting. And that happened on January 31st of this year. The Department of Health and Human Services, they made some updates to these perinatal guidelines, which include an infant feeding section where some remarkable changes took place, because I don't think is good enough to say because a person is living with HIV, no, you can't do something. First
right,
of all, no, you can't tell me what I can and can't do with my body. And
yeah,
many people seem to be on the same page with that when it comes to things such as abortion or, other topics. My body, my choice. But when
yeah,
HIV enters the chat, all of that is silenced. And I'm not here for that. Not here for that. I didn't ask for HIV. Nobody else I know that has HIV asks for HIV. This is a human condition that, is here and that we are navigating through. You can't just shut the rest of my life out because you learned that I'm living with HIV.
right. And I always think too, like we always talk about, there's people that are born positive. They definitely, you know, they only were born. And so it's like, how do you tell somebody who was born with it that, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that? That's like taking away their whole life basically. So it's like, if we're gonna give them that chance to do that, then we got to give everybody that same chance, because they have people, there's doctors who will tell you, well, I don't think you should have no more kids. You got this one, that's enough. Like, who are you to tell me just because I'm HIV positive that you want to take my whole uterus out so I don't have any more kids? You
That's
know?
crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Or, other stories of people getting C-section, I'm not C-sections, getting their tubes tied because they were told. I had a provider tell me one time that I asked him if I could have kids, and he talking about as long as I knew that they was going to be orphans. Like, how do you fix your
What?
mouth to tell somebody that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
How do you? So I no, I fight for the rights of fairness and not
Right.
just going to do me any type of way because I'm living with something, a virus. I'm not. I'm no. I got to breastfeed Zuri, my baby. She was born September 2021. I breastfed her for 7 months, and it was the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced. Beautiful, hard, tiring. I cussed the entire time. It hurt. It didn't hurt. It like the bonding moments. It just was beautiful, but it was nerve wracking at the same time because
Right.
those relationships you have with your provider, I don't know if we realize how important they are. I'm going to you in a space of like being vulnerable. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong. Can you help me navigate? So if I get to a point where you're not feeling comfortable, then I start feeling uncomfortable too. It's sometimes just off of the basis of having HIV providers and their biases prove that they are uncomfortable. And I
Right.
think that that is clear when it comes to, reproductive choices and justice when it comes to women living with HIV. Um, And I get it. I get it. But for some women I know, taking off the table that they could breastfeed automatically discloses their status to their family. Like in some
Mm,
cultures, it's just automatically expected that you're gonna come home with that baby breastfeeding. And now you're
exactly.
not. So what's wrong with you that you're not breastfeeding? That's disclosure that people aren't always ready to do. Or other people, the ease of it. What is the motivation for it? My motivation was I wanted to. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. My baby's supposed to. That's and I think that's all the
Right.
motivation that it takes. Like, why do I have to give you another reason for it? But
Yeah.
people is
Mhm.
life or death for them.
Yeah, and I think too, like you say, they always push this whole thing, especially with WIC. Mom's milk is best. That's always been WIC's motto. And it's like for me, definitely, especially with my youngest daughter, it was always uncomfortable for me. Like I always sent my mama to the WIC office. Like, look, this used to be your job. She worked there for 15 and a half years before she retired. So I was like, these your friends, go get the WIC, you know. And so, but it was always a thing of, that question is always gonna come. Are you gonna breastfeed? And to have to, at that time to have to sit there and say to them, um, well, no, I can't breastfeed. Not realizing, it was possible that I could have, but that's that thing. And then of course now they're going to be asking, well, why can't you breastfeed, or why don't and then that becomes the part of the disclosure, because honestly, for the most part, WIC never really asks a lot of those detailed questions. The most thing they're going to ask is your income information. They're going to ask if it's one baby or two babies that you're pregnant with, things of that nature. But when you have to go through having to explain to them, okay, well, I can't breastfeed, or the doctor saying I can't, and then them asking you, it does, like you said, that disclosure part, it's like you're being looked at like, okay, well, what's wrong? Why? You know, my mama say you don't have to tell them. You heard she say you ain't gotta tell them. She say all you gotta do is tell them the doctor just want me to feed my baby with formula. You know, but we're not even doing that no more because we got some new things in the works. So, um, okay. Look, Nana making a drop off run for the kids for the summer. But yeah, so real quick, so yes, like Cece said, on January 31st, listen, when I got that email, I was jumping up and down. I was like, yes, yes, yes. They did update the guidelines, and so what it now says is that the clinical practice guidelines now incorporate breastfeeding options for people with HIV on antiretroviral therapy with sustained undetectable viral loads. Um, and then it lists some more things in detail, but that is amazing. That is freaking amazing. Because when I saw that, all I said was CC did that. I ain't think about nobody. I say CC did that. I don't care who else had a hand in it, who else, whatever. CC did that. That was all CC. That was it. Like, so is that kind of how you felt like when that happened? Was it one of those moments like, wait a minute, did I do this? Like, did you have one of those moments, or was it just like a sigh of relief that, hey, now these women can understand that you can bond with your babies, you can do all of these things? Like, what was that moment for you?
Oh my goodness. It had been such a moment of anticipation because we knew it was coming. Like my voice alongside like the Well Project, ICWNA, we had extra like input. Like, no, y'all need to change this and this should, so having that opportunity and being able to see the impact, because I just show up to do the work. I show up to be authentically myself and to show other people what it is to live with HIV. It's always my motto. If you're living with HIV, we got this. But if you're not living with HIV, I want to keep it that way. So just showing up authentically as me, this was nothing different than what I've done throughout my entire advocacy. It was now that I needed to make a choice. I didn't realize how big it was in the moment because I still have not come down off of the high. The invitations to speak, the workshops, the presentations, the all of that, because this is great big new news that has to get out to so many different pockets of folks. So we talking
Mm.
like OBGYNs and pediatricians, child protective services, WIC is
Them
just,
definitely.
man. And that's one great thing that we was able to get added to the guidelines is now it say that CPS, Child Protective Services, is not a route to take for when people want to breastfeed. Like that should never be something that you are exploring. But you know how them folks get around rules and stuff. So they'll we're seeing now that they still initiate and cause the DHS, or that's our Department of Human Services, but now it's not based off because they can't say breastfeeding, so they're gonna find something else to pick on you with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's still so many issues. We just got a threat this morning from a mom down south that they telling her that if she don't show up to this appointment, they calling DHS. Like, and it's just crazy to have to navigate that, help other people navigate providers who are not willing to follow guidance. I heard someone say that an institution was like they don't follow this protocol. They don't follow those guidelines. Like how are you?
Right. This is like a national update in protocol. What do you mean?
But they do what they want to. So I say that the most important thing for women living with HIV who want to breastfeed, having that conversation really early is extremely helpful. Because
Right.
if I wouldn't have had that conversation at 6 weeks with my provider, I might have waited too late, and then where else was I going to go? And they called them folks on me. So I'm glad I found
Yeah.
out what it was really early on, so then I could get with an infectious disease doctor, so then I could get with OBGYN and with a pediatrician. That team right there is your A team. You need them on board so that you can ensure no one along the line is going to initiate a call on you. Their
Right.
support is so important. The Well Project is beginning to build a list out of breastfeed and friendly providers who are willing to work with folks who are living with HIV. um, yeah, see, I love the comment. Just give the baby dang formula. It's not that easy. Why risk it? I mean, back in the day, they said don't
There
have
is
babies.
no risk.
It's a less than 1% risk, which is, listen to this, the framing of that 99% effective that they told me that my birth control was going to be when I left the hospital. The doctors came to me like, oh yes, this is 99% effective. We're not going to see you back here again, because they confident in 99%. But it's the same thing when it comes to this less than 1% risk. What is it, non-legible, like less than 1% risk. Like,
Right.
I mean, when we get in cars, we take a risk every day when we do that. We take a risk by eating the stuff that we eat. And like, we take risk every day. So you choose your risk and I chose mine, and my baby's fine. So,
Right. Because honestly, at this point, the way that they had a formula shortage, just imagine if all the formula was completely gone. You weren't gonna have no choice then. So are you gonna risk your baby dying of starvation, or are you gonna breastfeed your baby? Like, just saying, you
or
know.
that is little metal pieces or something, whatever that recall was, because that's what that formula shortage when I was pregnant was resulting from. They had to recall all of this formula. I don't want to risk giving my baby that.
Yeah.
Like, get a baby porridge. That's a nice. I don't want. I want my baby to have breast milk. What she did.
Right. Have that golden, the gold, liquid gold. What
Oh,
they
it
call it,
was
liquid gold.
great. It was great. And so many women have done this before. There are women that are doing it right now, like, and have the support to do it, because you don't know nothing until, like, if y'all always just say no, 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 when are you ever going to find out if it could happen? You know, at
Exactly.
one point they was telling us not to have kids at all. But as you see, or you get the advice of don't do it. People still gonna do what they want to do anyway. I'd rather do it with having my baby taking medication because that made me feel safer, having
Right.
the baby watch because the medicine is a form of prep or pep. So the baby's getting the medication. I'm undetectable. Like in my head, I couldn't even see how a transmission could occur. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I'm undetectable, baby's on medicine, where does HIV have a chance? And
Right.
those studies that we are dependent on was in a time before this advanced medication that we have now. So like, what really is the risk? I know that what the benefits are, and to me, the
Mhm.
benefits outweigh the risk. So each person has to do their own balancing of their own. I would never be out here. Yes, all moms living with HIV should breastfeed. That is not what I'm out here promoting. What I'm out here promoting is bodily autonomy and decisions over our own lives. You get
Yes.
it. I deserve it too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is why I tell you guys I am doing what I'm doing. That is why I went back to school because like I am going to be an infectious disease physician. It is in my end game. And a part of that has to do with what we're talking about because what you just said was something very important. You said you mentioned what you wanted to do to your to your infectious disease doctor, and they're telling you all these different reasons why you shouldn't do it. Oh, they're gonna call this DCF. Oh, this is gonna happen. Oh, that is gonna happen. And it's like that is because these are doctors who are not walking. They can't walk in your shoes. They can't know what it feels like or understand what it's like to be someone who's HIV positive and wanted to have that bond with their child or wanted to do whatever it is. Because granted, there are people who are still getting diagnosed who feel like their life is over. And it's not. You can still go to school, you can still have a marriage, you can still have a baby, you can still do everything. And so that's why I keep telling y'all, I want to be the person who can sit there with my patient and say, "Listen, I know exactly what you're going through, how you feel, all of that." And if my patient comes to me and they happen to end up pregnant and they say, "Hey, listen, I want to breastfeed," I'm going to make sure that I get them the resources because I'm gonna say, "Cece, I got somebody for you." Give them this information. Because when I think about all this stuff, I think about stuff like that. I think about the future and how everything that's unfolding now is going to help in the future. What you have done literally is now a part of the future. You
That's
know,
crazy.
it's crazy, right? Yes, it's a part of the future. In 10 years from now, people are going to say, "Man, remember that time when Miss Ci Coleman, when she was on there, she did it. She showed us on Insta." Like it's gonna be a thing. It's a thing now. And so I'm just so proud of you. Like, and now let's jump into the next thing that I'm proud of you because listen, you and Masanya, oh my gosh. um and the fact that I saw the name Cheryl Lee Raff, I was like, oh, this finna be good. So there is a documentary that you are part of, titled Unexpected. It's a short documentary film. And was it so tell me, was it directed by Shirley Ralph? Was it like so who's behind it? Like officially behind it? Because I know there's a few people.
So I'm probably messed it up, but it is produced, directed Shirley Ralph and a guy named Zebariah Newman. Really excited about it. It's like what other big thing? Oh, this big thing. So the documentary short unexpected. It is just centering our lives, Messiah trailer and my own is Black women living with HIV and the impact of HIV on women in the South, Black women in the South, new moms, like showing community support. We get the like, I don't know, you had to watch it. It's getting played at the Essence Film Festival at the end of this month. So if you have an opportunity to check it out there, but it's such a touching film. It features Dezandi Allo, I can't ever say her name, out of Sister Love, Linda Scruggs from Ribbon, Krista Martell from the Well Project, and Messiah and myself. And just watching the impact of community, like community is how I've been able to manage this diagnosis at this level. if it wasn't for people like you, for other women that I've met that are thriving with HIV, I might have gave up on myself a long time ago, because the images that I was seeing or the lack of support, and you having to deal every day with, you already know society looking at you crazy. Soon as they find out you living with HIV, you put in a box and whatever. But to be able to move through with sisters that get it, because life don't stop with HIV. Like, I'm
Mhm.
dealing with everything else plus this HIV diagnosis, and oh yeah, let me take this pill because I want to stay alive. So I
Right.
know it's easy for other people to have opinions and everything, but it's them sisters living with HIV that get it. This documentary, I think, is phenomenal. I think is helping so many people who are living with and not living with HIV, because it's about that. Like, I know this not a term that is endearing all of the time, but this is what my intention is: the resilience of Black women and the tenacity and the love and communal support. It's phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah, so we are gonna watch the trailer because I got it pulled up the ready.
Okay.
So we are gonna watch it. Let me get it pulled up because I'm over here doing this thing. So I'm gonna move you down. I'm gonna move. I'm not gonna move me yet because I want to make sure I got it up. Let's see. So, dun, 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 dun. All right. All right. Let me make sure. All right. I'm gonna move myself so it can be full screen for you guys.
My name is Masanya Trailer, and I've been living with HIV for 10 years.
Stigma is still real, and it looks different for women, particularly in the South, where they can't tell. They won't show up. They are living in isolation.
You don't want to be known as the person living with HIV or the girl that got AIDS. My first question was, can I still have kids? He said, just as long as you realize that all your kids are going to be orphans.
If you fix it for black women, you fix it for everybody. And so if we don't fix it for ourselves, we can't fix it for anybody.
All right. Look, coming soon. Well, it's here, baby. It's here. And I am so privileged that I was able to actually watch the whole documentary. It was good. Y'all had me crying. I'm not even gonna lie. I was crying in tears through some of those moments.
I think I cry
So
every time I watch it still.
yeah. Yeah. So what's so exciting now is that baby, y'all going to Essence.
Like Essence, like down in New Orleans, and it's got accepted into the film festival, which we were just in Atlanta last month, the month before, because it got into a Black Women in Film Festival. So that was exciting. I think that was just a preview for what we're about to see at Essence. I don't know what to expect. I'm so humble and honored. I just can't wait to reach more people. Like, I told God, I only wanted one. So if I'm getting to reach more people, I just feel like that's a bonus.
Right. And it's reaching people. Listen, everything that you do, like I said, when we were talking before, like when I open Instagram, I'm usually seeing something that CC has posted. And I'm like, oh well, look, I wish I knew how to do all these little different things. Because CC put the words up there and she'd be like, that word, then the word pop up, the word pop up over here. I'm like, I don't even know how to make a word pop up, but she got it going. So you are reaching people Even if it's doing something animated on Instagram, making these videos and stuff, it's reaching people. People are seeing it, they're getting that information. And I think that is absolutely amazing. So before we get out of here, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on social media, where you want them to follow you at. And I have been scrolling the websites across, so don't forget, you guys, healingisvoluntary.com as well as the wellproject.org are both websites that you can go on and get information about HIV and AIDS. You can get more personal with CC and others. So make sure you check those out, but go ahead and give them your social media information.
Yay. So Instagram is my platform. That's the one that I show a little more attention. So that is CI.C. It's 6 I's at the end.
Good job. Look, let me go grab.
See.
Look,
I
she just
wanna
said a whole bunch of eyes. Hold up.
just keep putting them till you see me. Um
Look, I'm gonna post it in the comments right now because look, the way she just put all them eyes, I forgot you had all them eyes in it, girl. Oh
crazy
yes,
because they took up the rest of them. So
yeah,
that you can read my blog. Healing is voluntary. It's the acronym HIV. I decided, I was reframing what that meant to me, and this is my complete healing journey. I started this back in 2018, and it's about 70 blogs of just me being really frank and open with, what I have going on, what I've experienced related to HIV and not related to HIV. Is it's a good blog, if I must say so myself. And definitely, if you are a woman living with HIV, if you know women who are living with HIV, the Well Project's website and all of their resources, I feel would be extremely helpful.
absolutely. I agree. I second that. Well, Cece, I thank you so much for coming on here with me on today, taking some time out of your busy, busy schedule to do this. I hope that everybody who's watching, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, that you're able to take something away from this, something you didn't know, something that has added to your knowledge of HIV and AIDS. That is always my goal for you guys. And just thank you so much. I am so happy I was able to get you on here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you guys, we are going to end this live. I'm going to bring you down real quick, CC. All right, you guys. So don't forget, I'll be back on here on next week. Next week. I'll be on here with, listen, I'm about to butcher her name. Shy Asia. I had to remember it's Shy Asia. That's how I remember because of the R&B group Shy. Listen, however you got to remember names. So we'll be back next week with Shy Asia, and she's going to talk to us about her diagnosis and how she was actually kind of like me. She was married, and she contracted the HIV virus from her husband. And so she's going to tell us about that. And then that's actually going to be her first time really sharing her story. So I hope you guys are ready for it. And then I'm also going to sit down and we're going to talk with someone who talks about life insurance, because a lot of you guys have been asking me about life insurance. And I keep telling you, GoFundMe and Cash App is not life insurance. Okay. We need to make sure that you guys are getting into life insurance policies so that if something happens to you, your family can make sure that you are taken care of without needing to do these things that happen quite often. Okay. There are places out there. I know people say, oh, well, I have a pre-existing this or that. Listen, there are companies who are able to offer you life insurance, even with pre-existing conditions. Okay. Just have to get the research and find it. And that's why I want to have this person on, and we're going to sit and talk with her, and she's going to give us this information. So thank you guys so much. We're out of here. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. It was a pleasure as always. And that's it till next time.